quick update on where Sentinel SCDM stands after the last few updates. And going forward, not going to be going too crazy anymore on adding features. Got it pretty much where I want it. So it'll mainly be small improvements and bug fixes if anything comes up. 12.1 for the PTR. There will be a new module added, given the fact that new APIs are getting introduced to do certain things. So that'll be coming. If there's anything people can find with resources for their class that doesn't seem right, go ahead and report those. But as far as the recent updates, you can now anchor to LVY frames. The custom bars have the auto align. So if you go to layout, each bar has the auto align. If you turn that off, say I turn it off for bar 3, and I increase how many slots I have. Oh, that's another thing is the hide empty slots. That'll hide empty slots. But if you turn auto align off, you can just put things wherever you want it to show up. And then, like I said, hide empty slots just hides any empty slots, hides unavailable. Let's say I have my health stone here. If I hit hide unavailable, it hides it because I don't have any available. It's something you can turn on if you want. Next thing is CDM containers for bars. I added a note when it's a duration bar, so you can easily see at a glance when something here is a duration bar that you're tracking as a duration bar. That way you can just see it as a glance and it's separate from other things you might be tracking as the actual bar. And it gives you the remove it from the bar can stop the duration bar from working warning. If you try and remove it, you're going to get a warning. Next thing I added is a slash SCDM space report command. What that's going to do, if you ever notice your abilities becoming orange bordered with desaturation, it means something's gone wrong with them or another add-on pulled the frame away. And so now SCDM thinks it's not available. So I added this to give an idea. I don't want to say it's 100%. It's just a tool to point you in a direction. And it shows you what the suspected source was and gives you the event. It shows you a list of all the add-ons you have installed. It'll name the add-on that it suspects of pulling the frame away, which could be helpful for diagnosing. Turn that specific add-on off and then test again and see if it happens again. You can also select all and copy so you can make a report with this. Another thing is fixed a lot of the issues that were going on with the darken on cooldown. Blacked out on cooldown never had an issue. It's always worked. But now if you see, as I use abilities, it no longer looks distorted. It's just grayed out like it should be. There's a bunch of other bug fixes that went into the last couple days. I'm not going to go over each of them individually. I added a options window scale. Someone had mentioned that the window scale was too small, and maybe if you're playing on larger monitors, might be kind of hard to see, and then the text. So this was the easiest option to add was the window scale. So you can just scale the window up. And when you do that, it also scales the positioner mode window up. You can scale it down however you want that to look. The last big update that came turned out to be kind of a headache. I redid the positioner mode window, so the buttons are now side by side instead of in a row. It got widened a little bit. I added a frame highlight slider, so you can turn the frame highlight off if you want, or you can have it less or full. And then it's always had a right click option to go to that frame settings window. I'm not sure how many people knew that. It was buried in all the white text, so that's why I moved it out to stand out more. So let's say if I click on this custom bar 2, it takes me to the custom bar 2's page. The same thing with custom bar 1, it'll take me to the 1 page, so on and so forth. So essential will take me to essential. You get the point. The thing I just added though is the left click, and it opens the positioner and anchor window for each frame. So if I click on a frame, it opens the positioner window, and from here, let's say I go to frame that I haven't had anchored. When a frame's not anchored, it'll just give you the position settings. So you can fine tune. It has steppers, so you don't have to keep typing numbers over and over again. And then when it's not anchored, it'll say not anchored and show you the choose anchor button. You click on choose anchor, and now you can pick any anchor that you want to anchor to. Hit cancel if you want to cancel, or escape. Anything that's anchored, it's going to show you the name of the frame. So this is my aspect of the turtle duration bar. It's going to say that it's anchored to my custom bar 2. I can choose another anchor, or I can clear its current anchor. I can pick where it's anchored to on the frame from the drop down. Then I can set the offsets for the anchor. I can have match width off or on, and then adjust the offsets for the match width. Essential can now be anchored. Utility can now be anchored, and auras and buffs can now be anchored. So if you wanted to anchor your bars to, let's say, your unit frames, then you can do that. Then you can pick where you want it anchored to. You can adjust the offset by putting in a number or just hitting the stepper buttons. So let's say you wanted it right above here, maybe like that. And now I have my bars set to grow up, so they would grow upwards. When you clear an anchor, it's going to leave the frame where you put it. So it's not going to snap back to its original position. It's going to lock into its new position. If you try and anchor something to something else that can't be anchored to, or let's say I have essential anchored to utility, and then I try and anchor utility to essential, it's going to give you basically a message saying you can't do that. And that applies to all the frames. So you can't anchor an anchor to the anchor that's anchored to the anchor. But yeah, so now you can do all your anchoring within the unlock screen. So the other thing I changed is now for duration bars and ability bars, the icon is now considered part of the frame, whereas before only the bar was considered the frame. So clicking on the icon did nothing. Now if you click on the icon, it moves. The other change I made is, let's say you're tracking a duration bar and you have your show companion icon on. You can have the icon anchor to the left, to the right, above the bar, below the bar, but the new settings are above bar left edge, above bar right edge, and same thing for below bar. So I could have it anchored to above the bar on the left edge, and then as I adjust the bar width, the icon's going to follow the bar width, whereas before it would stay right there, and if I adjust it inward, the icon would just stay stuck there. All right, here I am on a Vengeance Demon Hunter. As you can see, I have a duration bar set up to track spikes. So whenever I use it, I get to see the duration of how long the spikes are going to last. And for Immolation Aura, that's just set as a regular bar. VDH gets Soul Fragment Tracker. So as you get souls and use souls, it will show up. This will work. So duration bars are good for tracking things like defensives for their uptime. You can use it on Guardian to track iron for stacks and duration. But yeah, anyway, that's about it.